Hello, my friends. Let's get started. I have a little bit of a cough today. It's allergies this time. Let's let that share. Hope you guys are doing good. I'm sending this out before Memorial Day starts because the chart we have on the screen is Monday, May 26th. That's Memorial Day here in the US. So we're going to get that going. And we're at the balsamic lunar phase at this on this chart, right? And so this chart is Monday the 26th, 4:37 p.m. We have Mercury sextile Neptune. Now, sextiles and trines tend to be relatively easy things, just flow. The reason they flow is because the zodiac signs that are either sextile or trine, um, for the most part, are the same polarity. That is yin or yang. This Neptune in Aries is fire, and Gemini is air. So the air and the fire signs are yang. So that means as a sextile, they're going to cooperate with each other. And again, if it was a trine, it would be the same thing. There's two fire signs here, same in this trine aspect. So they're the same polarity. And what that is there's only two polarities. It's the yin, the yang, feminine, the masculine, the receptive and the outgoing, and the action focus. And we have the sextile is action focused, Mercury and Gemini in its own sign, about information and communication. However, we're at the balsamic lunar phase, which is hours away from a new moon, because this is at 4:37 and the new moon p.m. Eastern, and then the new moon is at 11:02 p.m. Eastern time. That new moon forecast is in your on your wall where you're watching this already. If you're on Patreon. This does go to a few people that don't have Patreon. But but the point is like this sextile represents an opportunity to share information, but it's more so for us to use it as a period of introspection and getting clear messaging from our higher selves, if you will, or God, or however, whatever your process is, right? This is an opportunity to get clearer messages. But sit down and really ask, your spirit guides, your higher self. You ask God, what they want you to know now, if you will. There's many of them because this sextile between the two says so. Mercury and Gemini in its own sign, like I just said, is the messaging. And it's like, what is it that I keep repeating or saying in my head that just I need to move on from that. And I say that too because we're in the balsamic lunar phase at this point. And that just tells me that we're needing to get to hear some words, some dialogue, to recognize, to realize, if somebody has been fibbing, that's Neptune in Aries. If somebody's been lying to you, that's Neptune in Aries. And of course it's, lying is usually typically words, that's Mercury and Gemini. So this doesn't have to be anything massively big, but it's the secrets and the stories and the things that we tell ourselves that we don't want to believe, and it can show up. But I want you to process this in a productive way to process this is like I just said, do some journaling so you can let some things go. Just sit down and write and write and write. I personally don't do that. I'll just be honest with you. I don't do those things, and I should. And when I tell you to, you really should, because I know it's really important to do it. I still have to find the motivation to do that. I mean, I do write notes in my Llewellyn book, this big calendar book we always talk about. I mean, I write notes in here now because I haven't been journaling effectively for a little while, about a year. And that's just my thing. But I want you to pay attention to that so you can use it. And, that's why you're here, because you want that. So take this balsamic lunar phase, and you can even use this Mercury sextile Neptune in the balsamic lunar phase very effectively for the 2 days before. So the whole weekend, honestly, 24, 25, 26 of May, while to make space and create, just to create space. And I think that's the best way to use it. Now, put a period in that. If I was writing this out, I'd make a new paragraph. Another process and another way we can use this, since Neptune is about our hopes, our dreams, things, our spiritual processes and ideas, we can do that too. I mentioned to bring in your spirit guides, your higher self, your God, that's Neptune. But if you want to be creative and do some creative poetic writing just to express yourself, it's that too. Because it can be beautiful and creative too. This is not a troublesome thing. And let me tell you, the day could just come and go and you won't even notice it because that happens sometimes with sextiles. The next aspect that we do have is that new moon. And now that we have that new moon, Mercury is moving away from Neptune. So you can see over here that Mercury Neptune square on the grid. It's a separating. See, it's an S. When it's an S, that means it's separating aspect. It's over because that means it's happened, it's occurred, and now we're moving. We have the information we need to learn a lesson or just to process. And with this new moon in Gemini, and you guys, like I said, you already have that new moon in your on your forum on your wall, and just scroll back to that. And that new moon in Gemini is asking us to now initiate some new things. I'm loving it. It isn't a trine aspect with Pluto, but it's a separating aspect. It does separating aspect to Neptune as well. But in and of itself, the 6 degrees of Gemini, it's a great time to write down what you're experiencing. So, like I just mentioned, for the weekend and before this new moon, write down things that you feel are needing to go. And then on a separate entry in your journal, write in new moon stuff then. New moon stuff meaning what would you like to bring into your life? What new class would you like to learn? How would you like to get your information and the knowledge that you have and organize it a little better? And so I want to share another screen with you. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. This is my website. I want to make sure I'm on the right thing. Sometimes this, my yes, I am. I just want to see what I'm sharing. I want you to, there's always to, I have courses. I have self-taught, you do this yourself, your own courses, right? I know this is, thing at the top of my website is just huge. I wish it wouldn't be that way. But I have this course, which is a long, full course of, if I can get that, this toolbar is not in my, it's definitely in my way. I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a little flub. I didn't want it to do that. Share. See if it will let me do it now. Nope, it won't. Ta-da. We're back. Hi. So here on my website, this is a big full course right here, and this is a course on Mercury, and I've got a lot more coming, so you can check out either one of those. You can see a couple of different prices just to extend your learning. And I do have mentor plans, right? I have a certificate program, but a lot of people go and they just learn about these. Go here, you can see it up here. If you want a link, let me know. Select it, read a little bit more about each item. And because this tells you all about them all through here. Really simple though, so we don't have to, go too in depth. But I want you to just focus in on, I just want to let you know, let's put it that way. With this new moon in Gemini, you have an opportunity, if you like, to take some of your learning and go deeper and further with it. So I can help with that. Let's just have a conversation. Just message me. We can have a conversation. A conversation is not a commitment. It's good to find out if we're a good fit in one-to-one. So if you really want to take what you already know, but you're feeling a bit confused on how to pull it together, if you want to learn how to read charts so you can have your own clients or you can do your own YouTube stuff, whatever it is, just let me know and we can see what package works best for you and if we're a good fit. All right. So I wanted to announce that with this new moon forecast. All right. I know I got a little tongue tied there for a second. So with this new moon, those are things that you want to do. You want to write down goals, thoughts, ideas, what else you would like to learn, how you would like to organize it, how would you like to put it together, plus everything else I tell you in that 20-minute video. So go check that one out. All right. Next, let's move on to the 27th because on the 27th, Mercury then makes its trine to Pluto. There it is. Still in that new moon phase, which is just fantastic. So this is Tuesday, the 27th. And, this is just gives us a opportunity for Mercury to go a little deeper, right? Because Mercury is quick and fast especially when it's in Gemini, not when it's retrograde, but it's just a fast thinker. There's not a lot of depth to Gemini. You heard me say that when we was talking about the new moon in the new moon forecast. But when Pluto is connected, that gives us just like a little shot, a little infusion, if you will, like vitamin B, just to so we have a little extra energy to slow down and take some things to a deeper level. Because Gemini, it does not have depth. Other things have to add to the Gemini energy to give it the depth that it needs. This is that aspect. That's Mercury trine Pluto. That's at about 2 in the afternoon on Tuesday, May 27th. So we're feeling that for a couple days ahead of time as well. Yeah. So that's what we got going on there. So that one's not too bad. Let's see. I want to look at not the 30th. We'll come back to chart number 5. Um, Chart number 7 is just May 28th. There isn't anything specific as far as the big planets, any planetary connections. But if you look at your ephemeris, you can see that at 9 in the morning, the moon and Jupiter made a conjunction at 27 Gemini. This is the last time they're going to do that, right? In the sign of Gemini, because pretty soon Jupiter enters Cancer. So the moon's been coming around. This is like the 13th time the moon has made a conjunction to Jupiter in Gemini, and it's the last time. So we won't see this again for 12 years. And so this is wonderful because it's just like that final like push. Look at 4 things in the sign of Gemini, been going on since the new moon, but it's just fast thinking, um, a lot of expansive information and knowledge. This is another reason why I'm just going to start that marketing for mentoring through the summer, just as something that is just fun and casual, but a great opportunity to learn when there's not a lot of pressure with everything else that goes on during the rest of the year. Summer tends to be a little more relaxed, but time will tell, as always. But this Jupiter connection is just wonderful. It just gives us that opportunity to really pull things together and just to say, hey, I want to commit to more. Jupiter loves learning, so I just want to commit to some more. And that's what we can look at for that day. And energetically for everybody, I mean, look how high the moon is. This is the north side of the declination bar, if you will. And yeah, it's super high, which is wonderful. It's wonderful. We got Mercury and the sun coming together. We're going to talk about that shortly, too. Let's move on to the 29th. So there's no aspects there, but you will see in your Llewellyn calendar, I have it upside down so you don't see my writing. You will see on the 29th that it says the sun makes a conjunction to Mercury, but it's at the very right of the page. So that means that's Pacific time. So here on the East Coast, we don't have that aspect. I will talk about it in a minute. So on the 29th, all day before Mercury and the sun make their conjunction, we do have that moon in Cancer out of bounds. So that just gives us this energy around feeling very home focused, home in nurturing. We want to nurture. We want to feel like we're at home. Our family, our focus, our children, all of these things are very much highlighted while the moon is in Cancer and there's no other major aspects happening. All right, the next aspect on May 30th, Friday, May 30th. This is just after midnight here in the East Coast. So again, those of you on the West Coast, it's at 9:13 p.m. on May 29th. You guys in Central Time, it is at around 11:13 and on and on. You know how to do it. All right, here is Mercury and the Sun conjunction. This happens regularly. It's usually one, two, three, four, five, six. I think 6 times a year. Gosh, I've always had a hard time keeping that number in my head for some reason. It's just sometimes shit like that happens. So when the sun and Mercury come together, I've already been talking like it's that way anyways. What happens whenever anything is combust the sun, meaning the exact number, the same as the sun? It kind of burns off the excess, burns off, the sun burns off the excess of things that don't need to be there. It's just like, a shaman ritual when, if you could walk through fire, whatever is just superficial goes away, right? Whatever we don't need gets burned off. Whatever just is not for us is it just goes away. I've made this example. I've done iron work before, and when you put yes, I have some tools. When you put like hot iron into a fire and then you bring it out, if you have you seen this on TV, and the person hits it with a hammer and while it's glowing hot and stuff flakes off of it, the stuff that's flaking off is the same. It's just stuff, it's debris that doesn't need to be there. It's a byproduct. It's not what's good and solid. So when metaphor here. So when Mercury makes its conjunction to the sun, as it does regularly, it's an opportunity to burn off things that we don't need. And what that is like, that's again the words, the thoughts, the things we've said to ourselves that we need to let go of, the realizations, like again, like I really think about people who aren't telling the truth or lying, and things are just coming to the surface once again, right? And just yeah, I just listened to some interviews, um Jake Tapper, and the book he just has published about Joe Biden, and just how the government always lies to us anyways, but it's just like, yeah, wow, that's just that, it was eye-opening. It was eye-opening to hear what he had to say. And then again, is he telling the truth too? See, we never effing know, do we? The point being is that's what happens when the Mercury and the Sun come together, um, every single time. And since right now it is in Gemini, which is that all about information and words, and that Neptune's involved, which is about fibbing and lying and not seeing the truth, all of this is coming to a head. This is an interesting time for real, interesting when all of the information is just coming at us. There's a lot of things are going to get sorted out right around this day. I really feel that's the truth. That's just how I see it. Okay. May 31st, I did not create a chart for May 31st just because the moon's in Leo at that point in time. And May 31st, yeah, the Leo moon makes its sextile to the sun and Mercury and Jupiter. And again, that's another sextile, meaning and they're both the same polarity, which is the yang, which is the masculine, the assertive or the active action oriented energy. So there is just a lot of action oriented things happening right around the 31st. And then we have, here's that last one, with the moon in Leo for all of the 31st and almost all of June 1st, because now we're into June. Um, that is honestly, that's fun. It's creative. It's self-expressive. You could really use this to create and play and have fun too. I mean, really express yourself. Um, it's my, it's been so cold here in New England. I just think it's just normal May weather. It's just, like today I've got stuff on that I wear in the winter. It's like, son of a bitch. I want to get in my kayak. I have a new kayak. I want to get in. It's one of those foldable ones. I haven't had a chance yet. It's been either too cold or too windy. I don't want to get pushed around the lake. So I gotta wait for a really perfect day just to do a maiden voyage. Personal story aside, Chiron and Venus are conjunct. Now, this is just like a whole shift of gears, right? We haven't talked about Venus and Aries because we've really focused a lot on other aspects that are going on that just had our focus. But Venus and Aries, conjunct Chiron and Aries, this is a vulnerability that some of us may experience. And even during this, the moon is making that trine aspect over there. Jupiter has a, no, no, yes, is it? Is Jupiter? Yeah, Jupiter is sextile. It's a little wide, but Jupiter is sextile the whole batch too. Here, let me draw it out. What this tells me, let me grab my big toolbar. Yeah, so here is the conjunction. Let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll add the rest of them in. Good day to examine your independence and your desires around what your relationships, right? And we can say that in regards to your finances too, because Venus can be our finances and how we earn our money and how we spend it, as well as relationships. And with Chiron and the personal responsibility we have to take for either of those subjects. Okay. Conjunct Chiron means that it can, not for everybody, but it could and can stir up insecurities, whether it's within a relationship or if it's within, your money, poverty consciousness, fear of loss. Again, fear of loss of money, fear of loss of relationships. All of these things are stirred up when Venus and Chiron come together. And I can't see. I gotta do some work before my next video because these toolbars are all not they're always in the way, and I gotta figure out. Since the new update, I haven't been able to figure out some things. June 1st, yeah, that's at 4 in the afternoon. So when we have it making a trine aspect with the moon, not quite with Mars, that we'll talk about that is because that Venus and Mars trine were the other day. Let's see, when was that? Yeah, Venus trine Mars is on, as of this recording, it hasn't happened yet. It happens on May 22nd. But still, the moon comes through and activates all of that at this point in time. So it kind of keeps things in play from May 22nd all the way through this time period, June 1st, that as Venus is getting closer and closer to Chiron from May 22nd to June 1st. And it made that aspect with Mars as well as now the moon is in there. Yeah, it gives us, the moon hits it at like 3 in the afternoon. And so Sunday, June 1st, gives us some insight, sextiling Jupiter, gives us some insight into ways of what we've been passionate about. And again, our fears, our insecurities around either finances and or relationships. And since this has been a really heavy Gemini forecast for this week, and it's only just the heavy Gemini stuff's just heavy, meaning there's a lot of it, not that it's depressing. Okay, just to be clear, that means a lot of this will come through words we say, through communication. So we need to process that. Yeah, we need to process that. So start with the beginning of the forecast now that we've gotten to this conclusion for the week, that everything has led up to the point that, since we have to segment this somehow, that the end of the week or the beginning of the next week, depends on how you look at Sunday, there are wounds and insecurities that can be addressed. So keep that in mind. Listen again to what I started with, because we started with the balsamic moon and Mercury and a lot of different aspects here. Let me just go back to them. Yeah, Mercury, Neptune. So it was all about information. We had the new moon. So at first we were releasing, letting go, and then whatever we weren't working on, we were thinking about and processing and journaling the new things that we wanted in our lives or set those new moon intentions. And then right there, Mercury, Pluto, so we could take it to a deeper level. The Sun Mercury conjunction created a lot of opportunities for the ways that we think about things or certain things just to finally just to fall off us and to go away. And then we get to this aspect of Venus Chiron conjunction, which is an opportunity for us to process and to heal and to know what that looks like, or just to start that process. Because sometimes it's like you have to recognize a pattern or something that isn't right in your lives. We have to see it before we can heal it. So that's the whole process of what this week is about. It feels fine to me. It does not feel overly difficult. Doesn't mean if there isn't something difficult already brewing in your life that this can add to it so you can clear through it, especially since we have the new moon right away. That new moon will help us, to get a little more focused into something. Okay, I'll leave us with that. Thank you guys for being here. I always appreciate who you are, and even our differences of opinion. That's very Gemini thing, because we do, a lot of us, I know a lot of us have differences of opinions, but you know what we all want for each other? Yeah. Happiness, contentment, security, love. And that's where it all will come back to. Blessings, everybody. Namaste.